I'm Susan Hannah Lask. I'm a class action attorney, and I filed the most controversial, high-profile class actions nationwide that have saved tens of thousands of people in this country. I am the first attorney in history to have 5 former attorney generals in New Jersey and a state Supreme Court judge support my action and file a brief in support of me. Here I am in Florida, nearby from foreclosure mill firm David J. Stern. The Florida Attorney General is investigating Mr. Stern's foreclosure practice, and here's what they have to say about him. Their website says they're investigating him based on, quote, fabricating and or presenting false and misleading documents in foreclosure cases. And it's not just Mr. Stern that's being investigated. Hunt Liebert in Connecticut has the Attorney General investigating them as well. And now my class action has Stephen J. Baum on the line. We're alleging that he's filing the same fraudulent documents that the Attorney Generals are investigating these other foreclosure firms on. And in our class action, I intend to get your homes back. If we prove what I intend to prove, then you should get your homes back, you should get your money back, and these foreclosure mills should be shut down forever. And here's the facts. New York's Judge Arthur Schack talks about Stephen J. Baum like this. His foreclosure filings are found to be operating in a parallel mortgage universe unrelated to the real universe, the Twilight Zone. Stephen Baum is in the Twilight Zone. Think about it. Judge Carolyn Demarest of New York, she says this about Stephen Baum's foreclosure filings, that they would open the door to potential fraud and place in jeopardy the integrity of title to the property being foreclosed. And the best one is on August 9th, 2010, and there's so many more, but here in Florida, Judge Jean Johnson of the Florida Circuit Court got it and finally held the bank and its attorneys liable for committing fraud. She said it outright. They committed fraud for filing a foreclosure complaint for a bank that had no standing. And she found that they were filing false court papers to foreclose on your homes. So Stephen J. Baum, I'm asking the Attorney General of New York to investigate you now. September 4th, 2010, the New York Times reported that David J. Stern and his wife own about $60 million in real estate property. Here's a house similar to David J. Stern's in Fort Lauderdale. He is in a luxury gated community. Here's your house when the foreclosure mills get to you. Something's wrong with this picture. Here's the foreclosure mill players. David J. Stern in Florida, he's under investigation by the Attorney General. Hunt Liebert in Connecticut, they're under investigation by the Connecticut Attorney General. And Stephen J. Baum, our class action is filed against him. You wanted to buy a home to fulfill your American dream. The mortgage broker said you could afford it. It was a mortgage you could never afford in the first place. There's the mortgage broker. The bank takes your money, and they're making billions of dollars off of you and hundreds of thousands of other people paying mortgages. The bank created a secondary market, taking your mortgage and everyone else's, and they pooled it together and sold it to Wall Street. The money just keeps going to the bank. And what happens to you? That mortgage that you could never afford in the first place, and the bank knew it, gets you foreclosed. You'll see your foreclosure creates a new income stream for the banks and attorneys. They sell the foreclosure income stream to investors. And the bank's foreclosure attorneys figured out the math. Stern in Florida claims he makes 70,000 foreclosures a year, times that by an average of $1,500 per foreclosure, and the foreclosure mills are averaging $105 million, or as Stern boasts, he makes $260.3 million a year. Money is such a motivator that Baum created a company called Pillar Processing, LLC, and an investment firm named Tailwinds Capital sunk millions of dollars into that company to sell to its investors. It's no coincidence that the Connecticut foreclosure mill of Hunt Liebert also has a company called Pillar. Here's what he does. He'll file a foreclosure complaint against your home, but the plaintiff that he names, that he says he's representing, isn't the person that has standing to sue. He'll say that they're going to assign the mortgage to the party that he names. They never assign it. So he's suing for somebody that has no standing. Stephen Baum takes the home and he has got a new stream of income, foreclosure income. Take that $1,500 and we've got about $200 million that he's making, so they have major incentive to file foreclosures. If anyone has information about Stephen Baum, pillar processing, or these documents that I'm talking about where he files and they're not naming the right parties, call the Attorney General's office in New York State. Here's their number. And if anyone happens to work for Stephen Baum or pillar processing and they feel like they have to make that call, I suggest you get an attorney first before you speak to anybody.
This is a Method to the Madness production of Susan Hannah Lask.